And with us, we have our team from Excellence, and they're going to be focused on the transformation, your hyper transformation of your enterprise with artificial intelligence, robotics process automation, and low code. And first of all, we have Himanshu Goy is calling in from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, right down the road from me. He's the managing partner of Excellence, which was founded in 2019 and growing very fast with over 80 people in India. He has over 18 years of experience specializing in digital transformation and enterprise solutions, with enterprise spanning across, with expertise expanding across artificial intelligence, robotics process automation, and low code development. He has a passion for integrating cutting edge technologies, empowering clients to achieve exceptional operations efficiency, and enhance customer experiences. Clients are mostly in North America, but also they have operations in Europe and around the world. And they focus on mid-cap to large-cap companies. And outside of work, Himanshu cherishes moments at the beach, paddleboarding with his family. Next, we have Paul Goldman. He's a new partner for Excellence, just joined. Welcome, Paul. And he's from Fairfield, Connecticut. And he is going to also be presenting in this presentation. And he has over 25 years of experience in the field, with over 10 years in digital transformation in the artificial intelligence domain. He's passionate about developing and executing strategies that optimize business performance and leverages technologies like artificial intelligence, robotics process automation, and assist organizations in modernizing their business workflows. Outside of work, Paul volunteers as a recovery coach and is an avid sports enthusiast. So welcome, Paul and Himanshu. We look forward to your presentation. Take it away.
Thank you, Jim. Maybe I'll go to the next slide.
Great. So I'll start off. I'm Paul Goldman. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the presentation today. So today's agenda, we'll go to the next slide, Himanshu.
Yes.
You know, we've seen some amazing presentations and discussions regarding AI over the last couple of days, their impact on business, technology, as well as people. And right now, you probably are experiencing many definitions of AI. For example, this morning I Googled AI and I came back with over 481 million search results this morning. So before we start, I'd like to cover what we will not be discussing today. So we're not going to get into machine learning, deep learning, or neural network algorithm design, nor are we going to get into generative AI or ChatGPT. We talked a lot about that yesterday. This morning, we're going to focus on applied AI. And applied AI is simply artificial intelligence to solve real-world business problems. And really, it's all about making businesses more efficient and profitable. And we're going to break down three AI application areas over the course of our discussion. And these are areas that we are working with organizations to hyper transform their organizations. And we'll talk about the sequencing of these, some of the lessons learned, and then we'll pivot over to some real world examples and case studies of how companies have successfully implemented these types of approaches. Followed by a little bit input on roadmap and how a roadmap or deployment plan changes with AI and moves into more sprints in 3-month to 6-month types of transformation programs. And then we'll wrap up with a Q&A session. So let's get started. So what have we learned about AI over the last several years or even the last decade? As an organization, what we're seeing is that leading companies are taking an approach to align AI, not only with AI itself, but robotic process automation, low-code platforms to drive enterprise value. So it's all about aligning process, applications, and data. And we call this convergence, or this trifecta, hyper transformation. It really drives operational efficiencies, innovation, and adaptability. And as we start programs and we start AI journeys with different companies, we always get the question is, how do we not disrupt the business or our IT organization with all these AI initiatives? How do we be pragmatic? And how do we leverage our current infrastructure? And today we're going to go through that overall approach. And really it starts with a journey of going small and simple, which is robotic process automation or RPA opportunities. And this is really automating rules-based tasks to free up human resources to more strategic activities. And what we find when we roadmap and strategize is that this really anchors the business case and the business drivers for change. Next, there's low-code, no-code type of platforms to provide visual, user-friendly interfaces for application development, reducing the need for expensive coding, providing a cost savings driver, a cost differentiation play in your overall business case. And it allows a business to more easily customize their AI systems and build what I call small AI models. And finally, after RPA and low code, leading companies then are overlaying opportunities to implement more complex AI models and algorithms into the existing business. And through the course of today, I'll use a current client that I'm working on. It's a B2B e-commerce company that is focused on the trucking and heavy-duty parts industry. They have an exchange and a platform. And we'll talk a lot about how they took a launch, learn, and relaunch approach that didn't hyper disrupt their organization, but rather hyper transform their organization. So on their journey, the first wave was robotic process automation. And many organizations were finding really start their journey with RPA. For example, I think by the end of the year, over 80% of the Fortune 1000 will already have deployed robotic process automation in their organization. So these are bots that complete repetitive rules-based tasks within and between computer systems. It's really a digital labor savings tool, and it's key to freeing up staff to focus on higher level activities or provide cost advantage. And think about bots as just training a machine to operate software as a human would, not necessarily at the keystroke level, but using the same interface and generating the same results through an overall process. And the bots perform this work through using and leveraging existing user interfaces. There's no need to construct original software integrations. And this is really powerful. We work with companies like UiPath, Nintex, NVIDIA, and find that they're really powerful and excellent at this integration in areas. So if I go back to that e-commerce company that I mentioned, the way they started is they looked at utilizing RPA for customer onboarding. So they had a package related to forms. They automated that utilizing bots and forms, then moved to a catalog template upload for their catalog management processes, and then mapping and validation. And finally, customer communications to provide status of the onboarding process, as well as open items, changes, and maintenance. So they're able to pull that up very quickly in about a 3 to 3.5 month type of sprint, and offered immediate value to scale into larger types of applications and customers and clients. So what did they learn in this? What they learned through this process is a couple different things. One, they learned that they probably didn't need to go out and buy a complex AI engine right away, because it sat for about 4 to 5 months. The second thing that they learned is RPA and AI are really two different technologies. RPA is used for automating manual rules-based repetitive tasks. And then on the other hand, AI analyzes the data and performs advanced analysis using inherent logic. AI allows for automating more complex tasks. However, based on these differences, RPA and AI are used in tandem to scale intelligent automation in enterprise, which we found out in a later wave and phase. So let's pivot to the next area of hyper transformation, low code. And low code or no code platforms really simplify software development, enabling employees and IT departments to create applications that prompt for data and tailor to specific business needs. It's really incredible. And the acceleration of the application development process, getting people to be collaborative and involve a wider range of users that's faster and less expensive is a very powerful value proposition. Low code can integrate into your existing legacy systems. The data is easily accessible, what we found. And you know, I'll give you an example back to that e-commerce company. They use low code to extend their product master and enhance it from a product master to a product information management type of applications. So very quickly, they were able to use low code to add additional variants, attributes, configuration models, and images within their specific systems. Some examples of low code applications, OutSystems, it's a leading low code development platform, great visual development environment. They've got a lot of pre-built templates, and they have extensive AI integration capabilities. Appian's awesome for business process management as well as scalability. Mendix, we've worked with for web and mobile applications, very strong focus on collaboration and integration. And also Microsoft Power Apps, part of the Power Platform. It allows users to create custom apps very quickly. And we like it because it really is accessible to the Microsoft 365 user platform and community on low code. So, you know, that was really the second wave of that e-commerce company's journey, was really working through their actual digital systems and enhancing them. The next thing they did is leverage the RPA and low code and moved into AI. And we call this AI intelligent decision making. And what this is all about is I think we've got, you know, the buzzwords of data-driven insights, predictive analytics, personalization. We all know what that is. What's really cool about now where we are in the digital landscape is that's becoming real now, and it's being able to be deployed quickly and cost effectively. So, you know, overlaying this foundation of RPA and low code systems, it provides a framework on top of your underlying digital applications and systems. And now it's much easier to introduce AI for more complex process and more analytics and information. For example, my e-commerce company is now building iterative processing and intelligent algorithms for handling data residing in semi-structured and unstructured documents. So taking documents that are training manuals out on the internet or OEM or manufacturing specifications to help improve their overall search results. We're also deploying and testing conversations using natural language processing. So it's search via voice like a Siri or Alexa. So a mechanic working on a Mack truck could say, hey, I have got a 2015 Mack MD Series 6. I need the M-Ride suspension. I need an installation kit. I need it today. And I need to be able to leverage my promotion dollars and my trade promotion pricing in order to get the best discount. So those search results are refined and really a powerful way to get the right product and then convert that product into a sale and improve the overall user experience. And they're also taking it a step further around processes and tasks for security and risk management. So cyber compliance and building it within their internal infrastructure as well too. So good example of how the journey went in 3 waves and basically was compacted into different types of outcomes and business cases in a time box set of a 3 to 4 month type of timeline. with an underlying data and change management program being built as they went along as well too. But if you're already invested in automating several business processes, you can start looking for ideal candidates for AI with processes around predictive analytics, such as perhaps maybe inventory forecast, loan defaults, preventive maintenance, or processes that rely heavily on unstructured and semi-structured data. For example, perhaps it's healthcare patient data to uncover patterns and insights of what a human can't find on their own as well. Or the third thing that we typically look at when we're strategizing or road mapping is highly variable types of processes that don't depend on any rule sets, such as product quality or perhaps equipment failure. So these are just really a way that we've found leading organizations taking a ready, aim, fire approach, a pragmatic approach of starting simple, overlaying application development, and then taking the data out of those processes in order to have success across their AI journey. So why don't we pivot now to some more real-world examples of combining RPA, low code, and AI with Hamachi.
That's great. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everyone, for your time. And so before we begin on the real-world example, as Paul mentioned, that the hyper transformation is really being come to life when you are combining low-code platform along with the RPA and AI engine behind it. So this specific example is very much focused on what are the good candidates from an automation perspective, and we have been hearing about these low-code platforms for quite some time now. And back in maybe 8-10 years ago, there were some rapid application tools available, and you could choose from those low-code platforms. But essentially, they would still be required to code it, and there were certain Microsoft tool stack which can be leveraged to tool those applications. But now what we're talking about is really a drag and drop kind of scenarios where you could drag and drop certain controls and build application or module by itself. So coming back to automation, what we have found most success is in having those repetitive tasks which are required to be done for day-to-day routine work. Automating those specific modules gets the most ROI. As Paul was mentioning earlier, we tend to reduce the launch cycle, and really the go-to-market not should be for 6 months, 1 year timeline. We try to reduce it with a shorter time frame, leveraging these low-code as well as some of the AI toolset. So, for example, repetitive tasks which improve efficiencies, data-driven insights wherever you are looking for some more dashboards and some business intelligence. Those are data-driven modules which can be automated. We truly believe in empowering users and employees who are working on certain modules with providing the real-time data, real-time information, not really re-engineering the entire legacy application, whatever you have. And you will see in some upcoming slides on the real-world examples which we have solved, using just building a wrapper on top of an existing legacy app and providing more boost to the employees. That being said, I go next. So this is a good example for AI chatbot. Again, the bots has been around, the chatbot, which are very traditional chatbots, workflow-driven, knowledge-based driven. There are certain FAQs sitting on the network somewhere. You connect with those and build these bots. But what we have done in terms of hyper transformation, you take these bots to a next level where you connect these bots with the appropriate data models, which are wrapped around a low-code platform. So it looks more fancy, it has a little modern look to it, and connecting to the legacy database, FAQs, or certain knowledge base to bring the data back. With AI, we were able to collect some information like intent analysis, that how the person is typing, what is the intent when the customer reaches out for a service. If that support could be a bot-driven support, or if intent goes where we see that this customer requires some agent handholding and human needs to bot in, we could brought in human at that point. A good example, billing inquiries. There have been times where the customer reaches out from a billing perspective, and then the right human intervention is required at that point of time. Or a plan recommendation based on the plan which you are on, and you need to have some additional information required for that. So this is a good example which combines both RPA to route the request based on the intent, AI to identify the intent, and the low code to build an application where a customer can interact with. You go on another example. This is more from a supply chain optimization. We tend to call it like a supply chain tower, where you could have information about all different modules around logistics, supply, inventory in hand, upcoming shipments, and again, this is called the hyper transformation, because we're connecting all these three elements together, building a predictive demand, which is what from AI we can calculate, and then RPA was used to identify the inventory, making sure that this bot is performing behind the scenes to keep up to the demand. Go next. This is from a healthcare where patients' record were harmonized and put into in a data lake, where the Azure data lake was leveraged to have these millions of records sitting there and performing some demographics-based reports and some predictive analysis. And again, we used natural language processing from AI side and had a low-code platform sitting on top of that. And the results were really transforming, because we could see that there is a improved patient engagement in general based on the data which we were able to bring together. Okay, fine. I'll go quick next. So this was done for this is a very specific case for the financial services, where again the loan processing, for example, there are a lot of underwriting information which can be transformed and moved into more high scale automation. And we tend to call it like a digital worker who would work hand to hand with a human. So you have your own little bot sitting on your laptop, and that bot is just performing certain steps which you would do in general, which would be very repetitive, reviewing certain applications, certain elements of the application, putting up certain field values from this form to another form, or having certain portion of the form sent out for a further approval. So these very tactical work which can easily be handled based on the business rules by a bot. So this bot is one-time trained, one-time implemented, and can take these tasks repetitively. This digital worker could work late hours, overnight. You don't have to really babysit this digital worker. But and then whenever there is a required, we could bring like a human intervention in to see and check on those tasks. Overall reduction, yeah, it was 25% reduction in downtime. We all understand once the digital worker is functional, it's a robot, it's a software driven, it doesn't require a specific time to run through, so it gets into automation mode. The next one. So this is the retail e-commerce example. I think Paul mentioned a few times about how it was really a transformating business model for the client. They were able to get quite a bit achieved from intelligent search, starting from intelligent search to customer onboarding to ensuring there's an appropriate machine learning algorithm in place which could bring the search based on the part numbers. Another good example from e-commerce side is that based on the choice of a customer, location of a customer, you could curate the search results also. You can bring information what customer has bought in past based on that. Netflix is a good example. Netflix curate your content based on your past viewing history. So if you watch specific genre, specific movie titles, specific TV series, then it just continue to curate that data for you. And one recent study came out of Netflix where they mentioned how they come up with the idea of having the Witcher or the Stranger Things series because of the overall liking of the audience, and based on the demographics, based on the country where what type of audience is watching what type of content, and they came up with this fictional series becoming more successful. So Netflix ended up taking their own. So they produced these Stranger Things and The Witcher, and then they were successful as well. So it's very important to see the user journey, see the user flow, how the audience who are coming on the website, on an application, how they're interacting, what are they searching, and build very curated, personalized data for them. Yeah, with that being said, maybe Paul, you want to take over this, what could be a roadmap to hypertransformation?
Definitely, yeah. So thank you, Himanshu. So there's a few lessons learned in deploying a hyper-transformation approach to RPA, low code, and AI. And obviously, there's pilot projects. What's interesting now is a lot of this real-world examples that we mentioned are actually mature examples out in the marketplace. But as you move into areas, for example, perhaps a manufacturing company that is initiating a pilot project for predictive maintenance, you know, we always start slow, perhaps with a single production line. Then we scale up based on success criteria. The manufacturing company, after the pilot, might use predictive analytics around all production lines. And then there's continuous improvement and continuously monitoring. So, for example, the e-commerce company that I spoke about earlier, they regularly analyze customer feedback to enhance their AI-driven search experiences and to refine their recommendation engine. So it's pilots, it's scale pragmatically, and then it's also continuous improvement. It's not a one and done type of scenario. As far as navigating the overall journey and putting together the roadmap, you know, what we have done with several of our clients is that I'm going to pause for a minute. We're on the next slide. Himanshu. Is that really taking the traditional approach of objectives, current state, develop the plan, as well as then implement and monitor are a given. And I think we heard this quite a bit yesterday in some of our previous discussions, is that there's really needs to be an AI strategic plan in place where there's business and IT strategy alignment, an understanding of the customer operations business model type of impact is articulated. There's process, there's governance with AI, there's leadership and communications, all part of the overall strategic plan for AI. Concurrently with these initiatives, a data governance and product delivery type of model with data design, experimentation, transformation, operational aspects of the data needs to be a foundational layer. It's very important, but that should not slow down from you not starting, number one. That could be done in parallel with doing some of these approaches of RPA, low code, and then getting the AI and your enterprise data together. There's change management, user adoption, obviously, onboarding, upskilling. We spoke about this yesterday. User support and coaching. We've had clients that have user community management or almost centers of excellence types approach for community management and managing overall AI. So it's a big component on the people side of change management and adoption. And then finally, think about platform management and support. So, looking across the entire AI stack, applications, infrastructure, developer tools, hardware, how do you basically wind this platform support into the overall AI model? And, things like infrastructure, data architecture, platform configuration and deployment, and even administration and running the applications, need to be in part of this overall transformational plan. So those are a couple of lessons learned related to navigation and road mapping. So we'll pause, Jim, and talk a little bit more about our next step, which would be the QA system, and see if there's any questions.
Okay, great. Good. We have a lot of time to talk. So excellent presentation. Enjoyed it a lot. A question that came in early on was about going back to RPA and for automating repetitive tasks. You often hear that you shouldn't automate a bad process. We all know that as a Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt myself. We don't want to automate a broken process. So do we need to clean up that? Do we need to fix the process first before we automate it? What's your take on that? What have you learned over the years?
Yeah, I'll take that one, Himanshu. Absolutely. So we do a lot of value stream mapping at the start of the design stages. So, you know, that's not really changing. Now, there is specific applications and functionality that can enable that process. Back in the day, we used to call it process technology enabled process transformation. That was a buzzword back in the day. So we would configure all our processes to SAP, and that was the best practice.
Yeah.
So what's great about it is, like, you know, you don't have to be hard coded to an ERP processes. With the low code applications, they have a vast toolkit that could basically utilize our value stream map and align our toolkit to those particular processes, but still has to be done, and is part of the overall roadmap.
So aligned to that, if I could ask, and they'll be getting questions here around process mining. Have you used process mining in conjunction? Are there times when you don't need process mining? Is there a time when process mining is necessary? What's your opinion on that and what you've seen?
Himanshu, I'll let you take that one.
You're on mute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so for the earlier question as well, Jim, so you rightly said that we cannot automate a broken process, which is, and sometimes it's not broken, sometimes it works, but it's just a lot of manual test steps involved. And you need to bifurcate and segment those processes and see what are the ready candidates to be automated. Process mining is very important because again, based on if we are optimizing and making the process efficient and not really just making a process automated with a new tool. And if the process is not efficient enough, it may not be broken, it may be functional, but it is not efficient, then we're going to have some challenges during the automation as well. So process mining is also key. As Paul was sharing the best practices, what we follow, building those process mappings and having some swim lanes around it and making sure the processes are streamlined, that helps, and that complements the process mining as well. So once the process mining is complete, we know the endpoints and we know the data points, then we could map it better from automation side.
Right, and then the other thing is to extend on that. When you apply AI to that process, the learning of that process, I'll go back to that intelligent search. So now we're experimenting as not only what the mechanic in the order for the truck part, but what was his navigation path and his interactions in order to get to that particular part. Mm-hmm. And then based on how we learn that, we could basically refine that overall process.
That's great. Yep.
So when you're doing an RPA or low code or any of this, what percentage of the time do you create new data, new fields, new threads, new decision processes that aren't in the ERP or not part of the ERP, and how is that integrated and roll up? How does that all work? It seems, a lot of people may think that's you're creating complexity where it shouldn't be.
Right. Maybe I start and Paul, you could follow up on that. So traditionally, what we have seen, a lot of folks have committed to certain ERP systems, which has all the ERP functions which are required to run the business. Yeah. But when it comes to decision making, then that's when it gets a bit challenging because the data is not exposed out the way it should be to decision makers. So with our low-code technology, and OutSystems is our preferred partner, where we build OutSystem wrapper on top of the existing legacy app. So you are not throwing away an existing app. You are not optimizing or enhancing the existing app, which requires a lot of domain knowledge and the current customization knowledge. You are creating a wrapper application on top of it. When the data points get collected through the wrapper application, you could add another dimension to the data on the wrapper app. You are not going to go back into the native or the legacy app in the back. So the report which you get is you get out of this wrapper application, and which can be more powerful, utilizing AI engine, certain NLP processes, neural network to build or connect with external third-party systems which are out on the web and bring some more data points to take better decisions. So yes, we have seen it in few places where we need to add additional dimension to data, but instead of updating or editing existing application, we would build on a separate wrapper application, which would be kind of a pluggable module which goes right in.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I'll give you an example of that. I worked with my former company, was a digital healthcare company around behavioral health, and we were able to take the transactional data and from an assessment or a mental health type of assessment, or results of a therapy visit, or perhaps medication adherence compliance, right? And take those core transaction sets, then build a specific process and algorithms to put a wellness index or a risk rating that perhaps this person is not doing very well, and there needs to be an intervention from their therapist or perhaps a family or friend that's in their overall community. But it as Himanshu said, it leverages the source type of data, and that process is built on top of those legacy systems.
So can you share a little bit about the concept of a control tower, and then how that works with your using all three your technologies that you mentioned, AI, RPA, and low code, knowing that AI is probably many different tools in building that control tower environment, and how you drive that overall a different look to and for the customer so they can make more real-time decisions. Can you share your thoughts on that?
Macho, I'll let you go. I know we talked about that. I'll let you address that one.
It's sure. So consider supply chain tower as like a hub which has all end-to-end visibility about everything going around supply chain. So that's the first thing is visibility. We need to ensure that there's a real-time tracking, there's a tool defined which present you with the real-time tracking of any content coming from supplier to customers or current inventory. So the real-time tracking is important. Then based on the real-time tracking and the data collected in past, how to perform some predictive analysis and some AI reporting from a decision-making standpoint. So now we have data, we got the real-time update, we got some decision points on AI, and we are collaborating all together on a single hub. So that makes this supply chain tower more promising from a usage perspective. And then once you have these three elements, you could perform certain automation to reduce your routine tasks and get more scalability from going on from perspective.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, I mean, as I just want to mention one last thing here, that so the name excellence is because we want to accelerate digital performance. So this supply chain tower is definitely going to accelerate the digital performance. So that's the mission of it.
That's excellent. By the way, you can turn off the slide. Maybe stop sharing the screen.
Sure.
All right, excellent. There was a question. I think you've already answered it. In your examples, do you have examples where you really use all three of them, AI, RPA? Do you see it using them all three for a single application, or is it, I mean, you're going to use it when you need it, right? You're not going to use AI if you don't need it. But, and in my experience, you're doing maybe RPA for something, you do low code somewhere else, but then at a higher level, it all wraps together for your wrapper. And for specific areas, you're only using maybe one of those technologies at a time. Can you explain a little bit more about that, how that works?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So yeah, so it's not as you know, Jim, it's not one size fit all type solution, and we need to have these different tool sets in terms of when we talk about hyper transformation, we utilizing all these different tool set to make the solution work. Now, as far as AI concerned, yes, we need to have some data elements, data architect in place where we understand the data stack to build anything on AI. So AI cannot do anything till the time we have a correct data. Underlying data needs to be appropriate. That's one. From an automation side, yes, we could utilize the RPA to build certain automation. Then again, there is different versions, what all things a bot can do and what you really want bot to perform. And Excellence is one of the automation as a service partner with UiPath, which is, we are very few of us who are partnered with UiPath on that stream, where what it means is that we could do an automation as service for you and just have this simple, small element automated at the moment. You don't need AI or low code for that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so combining these three make it a very powerful solution, because now go-to-market becomes very fast. You could really take the application live very quickly with low code, building some low code RPA modules. And once data is streamlined, you can create or implement certain models to run the AI engine behind it. So we have seen all three in the same engagement. We have seen where we phase it out. So we build a wrapper application first, perform certain automation using RPA, and then bring AI 3 months later or 6 months later into it.
Excellent.
So,
great answer. Thank you so much. I should clear everything up. Let's see. There's a couple other questions I'm reading through. We only have a minute or two or 4 minutes, so I want to make sure I get one that's a good one here. Are there any? I mean, everybody wants an ROI right away, and so my experience is people will, a lot of RPA failed initially because people kind of got burned out. And this maybe give us some best practices on how to implement so you don't burn out on RPA, and why the hyper perspective is really driving the ability to balance that. And I think you alluded to it in the previous, but maybe just pull that out a little bit more.
Sure. Yeah. So maybe Paul, I can go and then you can add to it. So we definitely understand that ROI is important, and this is not we're talking about now a big S/4HANA SAP implementation, or which will take a global implementation, 4 years project and whatnot. But here we build an ROI metrics to ensure that we understand what level of complexity current processes has and how much time and efforts it takes to implement to execute those processes in the current environment without any transformation, no automation at all. And then we compare this with how, if we could migrate these processes into one of our framework, could be just an RPA for now, and then see how robotic process automation helps automate this entire application, entire process. That will happen after cleaning up the process. We cannot migrate a broken process for sure. And then building another entity on top of it to see if we can have a low-code based app application as a wrapper app or a dashboard which can provide some visibility on these different bots. What are they performing? So ROI is key. We tend to phase out based on the ROI, and then as we realize the gains of what we have implemented so far, then we take it to the phase 2, phase 3, and the goal is to hyper transform the entire process. So yeah, we do definitely, for every engagement we begin with on this journey, we start with the ROI metrics.
Excellent. Okay, I think we have, well, maybe, I know you're working with Hosni a bit in CreativeSoft. Maybe you can just share a story of how you guys are working together.
Yeah, great. So yeah, as we all saw earlier today, and digital twin platform what Hosni has built is really commendable. I mean, he started working on digital twin when there was nobody was calling it a digital twin per se. So he has really transformed that, and so I really so that's a great platform. What we have, the way we have complemented Datasoft is to create these wrapper application, very business focused, very user focused interfaces, so that not everybody required to see the digital mapping, digital drawings of the warehouse. So those folks can easily just focus on their day-to-day work based on the application which we have created, which runs on top of Hosni's platform. And that adds value to Hosni because Hosni got the engine working so well. I mean, he got all the things out of the system, and he knows very well how to transform that. But now to just have a different side of experience for the other users, we could help and create those modern looking applications to transform certain tasks.
Excellent, excellent, very exciting. I know you have a few applications going on where you are working together with Hosni, building that wrapper to help the user experience, and then to feed his supply demand SNOP engine, real-time predictive engine, so that customers can actually sit back and do and execute versus have to work on linear SNOP models that most companies have today, and actually use a real-time stochastic model using neural networks, and then you pulling in new data and having the customer interfaces much stronger than they've ever been before, and boosting productivity to a level that I think most people don't even believe is imaginable. So I'm very excited to see both of you guys work together, and the great work you guys are doing to make those user interfaces very easy, and make everybody enjoy their work every day in the year. So there is a last question. I'll just grab it. Don't your wrappers create or extend the legacy debt for the enterprise? I throw that one out. We're running late, but let's hit that one because that's a good question.
Right. Or you want to go start?
It's a great question, and it's kind of a complex question without context related to that, because technology debt could be defined in many different ways by many different people. But it's definitely a consideration that we put in our business case, and we have discussions when we're making those decisions of prioritization and go no go types of decisions.
Yeah.
I can't really give you an exact answer.
Well, I think it depends, right? I mean, if the enterprise, whatever that ERP is, if it changes and they change out their ERP, you can easily adapt. So you're very adaptable. It doesn't matter what the ERP is today or what it's going to be tomorrow. You can sit on top. That's the great thing about low code, is it's very flexible in RPA. You can adapt, and everything's changing all the time. All your interfaces are changing all the time. But that's the beauty of this. It doesn't take 1 year for a change to happen, right? So I don't know if that might help answer the question.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So time to market, launching an application is so quick nowadays with these low-code app. Yeah, we could definitely.
Yeah.
Would love to know more about this legacy app that what you have, and maybe we could carve out something.
As you can see, I would talk about this for the next 2 hours, but we have to end. We'll be back at the top of the hour where we'll have some more chance to talk about these things and other things on AI. So we'll see you at the top of the hour. Thank you.